Good Friday morning. It is September the 24th. I hope you're safe and well and blessed this morning. I want to get right into this again this morning. I'm going to read from Mark chapter 1. This is verses 40 and 41. A man with leprosy came to him and begged him on his knees, "If you are willing, you can make me clean." And filled with compassion, Jesus reached out his hand and touched the man. "I am willing." May God add his blessing to the reading and the hearing of his word this morning. Quick little story. An Irish man was down on his luck, and he was panhandling on Fifth Avenue, but right before the annual St. Patrick's Day parade. And as a couple strolled by, he called out, "May the blessing of the Lord, which brings love and joy and wealth and a fine family, follow you all the days of your life." And there was a pause as the couple passed by him, and he had his hand stretched out, hoping to get some money, and they didn't contribute anything. And so he shouted after them, "And never catch up with you." Have you ever walked down the street that was filled with homeless people? I did down in Kansas City. We would go downtown at times, and there were several down there that were hanging out, and sometimes we would give them something. And in fact, I was approached by the same man twice in the same afternoon, and I asked him the question, "What did you do with what I gave you a while ago?" And he turned around and walked away. But you go over to Springfield, and they're on several corners as you drive past. Well, Jesus, he encounters a man with leprosy, and aside from his disease, he's no different than the man that I encountered in Kansas City, or the people that we encounter in Springfield on the corners. They're homeless. They're outcasts. The only disease they have is the disease of being broke. But I want us to look at how Jesus treats this outcast. Now, first of all, the leper comes to Jesus, and he breaks the law of the 6 feet difference. Lepers had to stay at least 6 feet away from everybody. Kind of like COVID. You're supposed to do that social distancing thing. 6 feet wasn't any different with the leprosy, because they are unclean. And he falls at Jesus' feet, which is a sign of humility. The physicians of the day, they could not heal leprosy. They didn't know what to do. And so the man tells Jesus, "If you're willing, you can make me clean." Well, Jesus here is filled with compassion, which I love about Jesus. He sees a need, and compassion just wells up in him. That, my friends, is what real love does. And he says to the man, "I am willing." And Jesus touches the leper, which is against the law. You were not to touch anybody with leprosy. But his compassion superseded any ceremonial considerations. He just did it. He saw a need, and he fixed it. And he says to the leper, "I am willing." What was accomplished was an awesome thing. We are here to do Christ's work on earth until he calls us home. And so my question this morning is, are you willing? Are you willing? We we got to continue to be willing to work tirelessly to bring the gospel to the world. We must continue to be willing to share the love of Christ to everybody. We must continue to be willing to be instruments of grace and compassion. We must be willing to give, to sacrifice for Jesus. As Christians, we needed every one of us to be able to be willing to reach out to those who are in need, to reach out around the world and share the love of Christ. Maybe you don't tend to think of giving in this particular way as a way to fight, but it is. The devil would like nothing more for you to put an end to such type of ministry, to stop reaching out, to stop being the hands and the feet and the voice of Christ. He wants to make us think that we're not making a difference. But we are. Even if you help one, you're making a difference. Our efforts are not worthless. There's a song that was done by a group called Jeff Moore in the Distance. It's been several years ago now. But it was called Heart to God and Hand to Man. Here begins the healing of our land. While one soul remains without light, I will fight on. Fight on. I will fight to the very end, as the words of the song. My Christian friends, you are making a difference. You make a difference when you share the gospel. You make a difference when you share the love of Christ. You make a difference when you share his joy, when you share his grace. Jesus says, I am willing. Are you? We who have been touched by Christ must be willing to reach out in compassion to those in need. They can bear testimony just like the leper in the scripture, in that passage of scripture from Mark chapter 1, about the touch of Jesus. The power of Christ's touch cannot be kept silent. We must be willing to spread the good news about Jesus to the ends of the earth, no matter how unreachable you or I think someone might be. The love and the compassion of the living Christ can reach and break through the pain, the loneliness, the despair. It can save and deliver and heal and cleanse those and make them whole. Jesus was, he still is, willing. Are you? I'm Pastor Mark. Love you guys. Be safe, be well, be blessed, be strong. Go do something for Jesus. I'll see you tomorrow.